It's the start of a new year, episode 20. This is the Revan Lightsaber by YDDSaber. And I'm really hoping that this pixel lightsaber is similar to another one that I've reviewed, because that one was really good. Let's see if this one is the same or not. Welcome back to all my Jedi and Sith companions. I'm your host, the Frugal Jedi, and welcome to another unboxing and review. You can get this saber in two different colors, black with red accents, or you can get it silver with gold, polished silver. I chose the polished one because it's more like the one from the video game. Revan uses the silver with gold around the neck of the emitter, and that is his Sith lightsaber. And he also has the Jedi design as well, which I'm probably going to review in the future. You can get it baselit, and the baselit version is going to be the same as the Hades lightsaber that I already reviewed. You can also get it in pixel. Now their pixel is completely different than Xenopixel, SN Pixel, or any of the other companies that are out there. They make their own soundboards. So I wanted to get this one because I wanted to see how different it is compared to Xenopixel and SN Pixel. Is it any better? Is it any worse? And I'm going to show you in a bit. The price depends on which one you pick. So the baselit version is $115.39 with free shipping. And the pixel version is $129.57 with free shipping. Those prices are in US dollars, and the shipping is done by DHL. It's funny how the price between the Smooth Swing and the Pixel is only a little bit more, like 15 bucks, or a little less than $15. Really affordable Pixel lightsaber. The Pixel edition has 7 different blade types. So of course you have steady, pulse, unstable, fire blade, candy, rainbow, a couple of other ones as well. And you have 8 different ignition styles. And I'm going to show you those afterwards in the demonstration. I will put a link in the description that'll take you to YDDSaber's store and directly to this Revan lightsaber if you want to purchase one. Saber arrived in this box with the foam insert. Nothing was damaged. And they give you an instruction manual. This instruction manual is very basic. It doesn't show you how to add more sound fonts. Very simple, but again, this video is going to explain everything a lot better. A micro USB adapter, so you can take your SD card, plug it into your computer to update it. They give you a little cleaning cloth because this is polished. It does get full of fingerprints. Your charging cable, which is USB-C, Allen key and screws. And once again, 5-volt, 1-amp wall charger. You have to buy one if you don't have one. Best place to find them, dollar stores, gas stations. You get the Pixel blade, which is 32 inches long, 82 centimeters. It has the protective film on it, the protective cap on the end, and standard Pixel connectors. Now let's have a look at this hilt. This hilt is 11.5 inches long, and it has the gold emitter on it. The emitter is removable. You have all these bands along the neck. The Pixel connector has LEDs built in, so if you don't have the blade attached, it'll light up, and you can put a blade plug in there. I would have liked it if they included a blade plug, but, you know, that's just me. Your USB connection, your power button, and the CoverTech wheel, which is built right into the hilt. You can buy the adapter for your belt and hook it on. And the pommel, which is also removable. So you could convert this to a staff saber, provided that this is LGT. If it's not, then you'd have to use YDDSaber's models to make it work. And the cutouts at the bottom there for the sound to go out of. Okay, I'm going to take the grip off and let's have a look at the internals quickly. So here is the soundboard. You have your micro SD card, which faces this way. So it's very easy to remove the card, which is great. Now I'm going to show you something here. Just going to move the blade out of the way for a second and move the stuff out of the way. Just going to grab that Sandman Fist Pixel lightsaber and put it next to it. So have a look at that. These two soundboards are identical. So when I first got this Revan and I was checking it, I got so excited because yes, this is the one. This is going to have all the same cool features that this one can do. But unfortunately, it does not. Even though they are the exact same boards, this one is programmed or has different firmware on it, so it's not even close to that Sandman Fist. So I contacted YDDSaber and let them know, and they were a little confused. They couldn't quite understand what I was trying to get across to them. I hope they watch this video and maybe they'll understand a little better. So I even went as far as to locate the company that makes that Sandman Fist and ask them if they have firmware for that soundboard. If I could update this with the firmware for that one, this thing would be amazing. It is really good as it is, don't get me wrong, but that other Pixel soundboard is like the pinnacle. Yeah, I can't even explain how much stuff you can do on there. To attach the blade to the hilt, you're going to put a screw, and there's only one screw that holds this blade in place. I've already started the screw just to make it easier. And going to push that in and screw that in. And that it's not going to go anywhere. It's very deep, so and it's a very tight fit. I'm not worried about this ever coming out. Let me go over the features of this Pixel Lightsaber by YDDSaber. It's off right now, so to put it into standby mode, you hold down the button.
I'm a Jedi, like my father before me.
And it turns on, and it'll play the sound effect for that bank. There are 27 sound fonts that are installed, and you can add more. The best way to describe the soundboard in this, it's as if Asteria, which is a different soundboard, and Xenopixel had a baby. They combined functions of Xenopixel with the folder structure of Asteria. When you go to look at the files, they have all those Asteria files, the same as that Sandman Fist, but they don't do nothing. They're just sitting there and they can't be used. So, it's really unfortunate because this has so much potential if it could just be unlocked. While the saber's in standby, to switch sound fonts, you hold the button down and it'll go through the sound fonts.
I'll show you the dark side.
You can also switch sound fonts using motion control while the saber is ignited, and I'll show you that after. double tapping in standby mode. So 1, 2. This will play background music. And again, you can add more background music, just like you can add more sound fonts. The background music files are all kept in one folder, so unlike Xenopixel where the music is set for each sound font, this one's just going to play through a whole list of files. So yeah, if you make it a really big list, you're going to have to wait a while before getting to certain music files that you want. Of course, you could also just keep the music files short, or just, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 music files. Tapping the button 3 times fast while in standby. 1, 2, 3.
I'll show you the dark side. I'll show you.
This will adjust the volume.
I'll show you the dark side.
So you have 3 volume levels, like a high, a medium, and a low volume. There's also a mute function. The mute function can only be done while the saber is active. So that does it for the features while it's in standby. You're probably wondering, well, how do I switch my blade styles? What if I want pulse, fire blade? Or how do I select my ignition types? This is where there's a big flaw. You cannot select blade styles or ignition types on the fly. The only way to do it is you have to program the saber for each sound font and select them. So example, Kylo Ren, you would go to Kylo Ren's file, or I shouldn't say file, you go to the config file, you look for the bank, that's Kylo Ren's, and in there you can set it to be Fireblade with a broken ignition, and of course you can set the color of the blade as well. I think that's a big detriment right there, not being able to select it on the fly. To activate the saber, you can press the button, you can swing, you can twist, you can stab. You can also set the sensitivity as well for motion. And you can even shut the gesture controls off in the config file. So if you don't want to be able to turn it on or off, or turn it on or off with twisting or stabbing, you can disable it. You can also set it to only turn on using motion, but not turn off with motion, which is great. So I'm going to turn it on with a flick of the wrist. So you can see that this is an unstable blade effect. So while the saber is active, to switch sound fonts, you hold down the button and twist your wrist. And if the blade is pointed upward, it'll go one direction through the list of files. You have it pointed downward, it'll go through, or it'll go back through the files in opposite order. It's just like this. Great sound quality. I can tell there's a bass speaker in there. There's your rainbow blade. So very quick to switch sound fonts. So you have blaster. And it lights up white on different parts of the blade. And to do blaster, you just click the button. Pressing the button 2 times fast will cycle colors. And like I said earlier, you can set the color for each sound font in the config file. I will release a follow-up video showing you how to add more sound fonts to this particular type of soundboard, and how to edit the config file for the ignition and the blade types and the color of the blade. It's very similar to Xenopixel, just the folder structure is just a tiny bit different. So again, double click, switches color. If you tap the button 3 times fast, that'll mute the saber. To take mute off, tap it 3 times again. 1, 2, 3. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the voice for mute on, mute on, or mute off. But every single file in here can be changed, overwritten. So if you don't like that particular voice, you could use your own voice or any voice you like. Pressing the button 4 times fast. That'll play music while the saber's active. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Very clear sound. It's really nice. And you have the sensitive smooth swing. And very good size for 2 hands. You can see that. So some other motion controls or gesture controls is you have a stab effect, and the stab effect will cause a white light to extend down the blade. Don't know if the camera will pick it up, but it's there. You might see it better once I dim the lights and do the demonstration. To do lockup, hold the button down, strike the blade, and it lights up white right in the middle here. For a tip drag, have it tilted downward and again strike the blade, and you'll get tip drag. And one last thing you can do is you can set the saber right back into sleep mode. You press the button 6 times fast, and it'll kill the power and not going to drain the battery. You could also do that.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
While in standby mode, same thing. Click 6 times fast, and the light turns off, and again, it's asleep. Those are all the features. So now I'm going to dim the lights, demonstrate it. I'll show you the ignition types and the blade types. I'm not going to go through every single sound font because it would take way too long. I will list them all in the description, and I'll list the ignitions and the blade types, and they will be chaptered. So if you wanted to see broken ignition, click on the time marker and it'll take you right to broken ignition in the video. I'd like to try to make it easy for you guys so you're not having to watch everything if you don't want to see it all. All right, let's move on. Swing it around, have a little fun, and then I'll give you my final thoughts in the end.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Very nicely balanced. Great for spinning. This ignition style is very subtle. Lights up green and then ignites.
Hello there. Let negotiations begin. You want to go home and rethink your life? Easy.
So this is similar to SN Pixel. This is the cross, except it's blue and red and then purple combined in the middle. You can't change the color. It is set like that.
We're keepers of the peace, not soldiers.
I am no Jedi.
You will take the throne.
It is the Dark Saber.
Girl, Rey.
Okay, we're at the end of the video, but before I delve into my final thoughts, I want to let you know that I did make a mistake earlier. I said that the Saber has 27 sound fonts pre-installed, but actually it has 28. That was my mistake. And again, they are listed in the description. All right, so let's start with value for money. You're getting a gorgeous looking lightsaber with this polished look, nice feel to it. It was so easy to spin. Your fingers just fit so nicely around the neck. You can either hold it really high around the gold, or I like to hold it a little lower. And great for two hands. And the fact that it has a micro SD card that you can add more stuff is phenomenal. You don't see that at this price range. So value for money, I am giving it 5 stars. Next up is design. It looks like Revan's lightsaber. I mean, minus the button and the USB port. I like all the bands. And what I didn't realize earlier is that inside, inside each of those grooves is a black rubber band. And there's like a whole bunch of 4 and 5 here. And those black rubber bands, you do have to be careful when you're wiping it with a cloth, because you'll accidentally pull out those black rubber. Now they don't do anything, it's just really for looks, just to give it more contrast. It also adds a little bit of grip too when you're holding it. So for design, everything's cool. Pommel's cool. I love the CoverTech wheel built in. And yeah, design, no complaints, 5 stars. Next up is features. You have 28 sound fonts, you have background music, gesture controls, you have ignition types and blade types. Lots of features built in. My one complaint is that you cannot choose your blade style or your ignition type through the button. You have to do it through your computer, and it's a little annoying. The other thing I'd like to see is the ability to control the speed of the blade extending and retracting, but you can't. But because it is programmable, they can release an update eventually if they want to, that'll let you do that. And they could even fix the issue with not being able to control the ignition and the blade types with the button. So currently, right now as it is, for features, I'm going to be giving it a 3.7 out of 5. It's an odd number, but it's just because the little imperfections, but at the same time, lots of features. Lastly is quality. Packaging is great. Everything arrives safely, foam padded. Metal is nice, good weight to it, great speaker, great battery life. No issues with quality at all. So for quality, I'm giving it 5 stars. So taking those 4 scores to find the average, and I'm going to round it up a little bit. This saber here gets a 4.7 out of 5. Almost perfect. So close. If they had just had the same ability for the soundboard as that other one, this would have been the first 5-star review. Fortunately though, they don't quite have the soundboard down yet. Needs a little bit of tweaking, and then it would be perfect. If you did enjoy this video, as always, don't forget to click on that like button down there, tap subscribe, hit the bell, and you'll stay up to date whenever I release new reviews. Until next week, I have been your host, the Frugal Jedi. Thanks everyone for watching. May the Force be with you.